10 reasons why I think Spock is Star Trek's anchor being. If there's an anchor being for the Star Trek universe, it's got to be Spock. Leonard Nimoy, Zachary Quinto, Ethan Peck. Marvel Studios' Deadpool and Wolverine introduced the concept of anchor beings to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. These are people whose importance to a given timeline in the multiverse is so strong that anchor beings actually keep their branch of the multiverse alive. In Deadpool and Wolverine, the anchor being of Earth 10,005, also known as Fox's X-Men universe, is Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, who essentially carried the cinematic X-Men franchise from X-Men 2000 until Wolverine's death in 2017, a slogan which signaled the beginning of the end for that universe. After seeing Deadpool and Wolverine, I wondered if there might be an anchor being for the Star Trek universe. Like Wolverine for the cinematic X-Men, this would have to be someone who's been part of Star Trek since the beginning, and whose return revives interest when the franchise seems to be at a low point. Star Trek's anchor being needs to influence every part of the franchise, either appearing in it directly or being one step removed from at least one character in every Star Trek show. The anchor being should be fairly regarded as beloved and embody Star Trek's core values. Who else could this be but Spock? The original pilot for Star Trek, the original series, The Cage, was rejected by NBC, but Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry was given a second chance. For the second attempt at a pilot for Star Trek, the original series, where no man has gone before, most of the cast was replaced with new actors playing new characters. The only character to make the jump from Star Trek's first to its second pilot episode was Leonard Nimoy's Spock, so we're already off to a great start. Majel Barrett Roddenberry also made the cut, but went from playing number 1 to playing Nurse Christine Chapel. Star Trek, the animated series, Season 1, Episode 2, Yesteryear, foregoes the regular goofy fare of the TOS sequel with a poignant episode that proves Star Trek needs Spock. In Yesteryear, written by DC Montana, Spock goes back in time to prevent his own death as a child. Spock's memories of a distant relative, Selleck, turn out to be Spock himself, as Spock closes a time loop to maintain his own existence. In doing so, Star Trek, the animated series, creates a wealth of information about Vulcan culture in Star Trek, like Spock's pet Selleck, Ichaya, and the Vulcan cause when coming-of-age ceremony. Spock's noble act of self-sacrifice in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, remains an important cultural touchstone. Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, even gives Spock's death a direct shout-out in Deadpool and Wolverine. Instead of letting Spock stay dead, however, the Vulcan's body lands among the growing life on the Genesis planet, and Spock is resurrected by the detonated Genesis device's life-giving energy. It's a great workaround to maintain the integrity of Spock's choice to honor the needs of the many in Star Trek II, and also keep Spock around so that the timeline can function. After DeForest Kelley's cameo as Dr. Leonard McCoy in Star Trek, The Next Generation's premiere, Encounter at Farpoint, Star Trek, The Next Generation tried to maintain distance from Star Trek, the original series, and carve out its own identity. TNG does a great job standing on its own merits, but Spock ultimately weaves his way into the series to connect Star Trek, The Next Generation, to Star Trek, the original series. This first happens in Star Trek, The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 23, Sarek, when the USS Enterprise de-escorts Spock's father, Ambassador Sarek, Mark Leonard, to a diplomatic mission. Later, Spock makes his own appearance in Star Trek, The Next Generation, Season 5, Episodes 7 and 8, Unification, when Ambassador Spock's efforts to unite the Vulcans and Romulans, after centuries of division and discord between these related species, come to a head. Spock, the iconic Vulcan from Star Trek, has long been hailed as one of the most influential characters in science fiction. He is more than just a beloved figure. Spock serves as the emotional, intellectual, and philosophical anchor of the Star Trek universe. His unique blend of logic, emotion, and moral integrity makes him an essential component of the show's enduring success. Here are 10 reasons why I believe Spock is Star Trek's anchor being. 1. Spock embodies the duality of human nature. Spock is half human and half Vulcan, a living metaphor for the conflict between logic and emotion. His internal struggle is a reflection of the broader challenges that humanity faces balancing reason with feelings. This duality makes Spock relatable to audiences, as it mirrors the complexities of our own decisions. His calm, logical side contrasts with the raw, emotional side he constantly suppresses, making him an anchor for both the cerebral and emotional aspects of the show. He represents the ideals of Starfleet. Spock exemplifies the core values of Starfleet: discipline, intelligence, and moral courage. His unwavering commitment to the mission, the Prime Directive, and to Captain Kirk himself positions him as a standard bearer for what Starfleet stands for. In a universe filled with diverse species and moral dilemmas, Spock is a beacon of principled behavior. His adherence to Vulcan logic often leads him to make difficult but necessary choices, keeping the crew on course. 3. The Science Officer Extraordinaire. As the science officer aboard the USS Enterprise, Spock serves as the intellectual backbone of the crew. His knowledge spans multiple disciplines, from physics and biology to languages and alien cultures. Whenever the crew faces a scientific or technological challenge, it is Spock who often provides the solution. His quick thinking and deep intellect ground the show in a believable scientific framework, anchoring the fantastical elements of Star Trek in real-world logic and theory. 4. Spock and his unbreakable bond with Captain Kirk. The relationship between Spock and Captain Kirk is at the heart of Star Trek. Their friendship transcends the boundaries of race, species, and even emotional expression. Spock's calm, logical demeanor perfectly complements Kirk's impulsive, passionate leadership style. Together, they form a balanced command structure that has guided the Enterprise through countless perilous situations. Their mutual respect and unspoken understanding act as the emotional core of the show, and Spock's loyalty to Kirk is unwavering. 5. A symbol of cultural diversity, Spock's Vulcan heritage makes him an outsider, yet he is an integral part of the Enterprise crew. He represents the inclusivity and diversity that Star Trek has championed since its inception. His mixed heritage embodies the idea that cultural and species differences should be celebrated rather than feared. In a universe filled with different races and civilizations, Spock is a bridge between worlds, both literally and metaphorically. 6. He is the voice of reason in times of chaos, whether facing Klingons or cosmic anomalies. Spock often serves as the voice of reason when emotions run high. In moments of crisis, it is his logical approach that frequently prevails. His calmness under pressure is a stabilizing force for the crew, and his decisions, though sometimes controversial, are almost always vindicated in the end. His ability to see beyond immediate emotional reactions to the logical solution makes him indispensable in moments of chaos. 7. Spock's stoic humor. Though known for his unemotional demeanor, Spock occasionally displays a dry, understated sense of humor. His quips, often rooted in logic, serve as moments of levity in otherwise tense situations. This subtle humor also adds depth to his character, showing that despite his efforts to suppress his human side, there is an appreciation for wit and irony hidden beneath the surface. His humor anchors the show's emotional range, balancing the drama with moments of lightheartedness. 8. A symbol of self-discipline and control, Spock's control over his emotions, particularly his Vulcan commitment to logic, is one of his most defining traits. This self-discipline makes him a figure of admiration, both within the Star Trek universe and among the fans. He serves as a model for those who seek to master their own emotional impulses and live by principles of reason. In a world often ruled by chaotic emotions, Spock's ability to maintain his composure makes him a stabilizing force in the series. 9. His philosophical depth. Spock's character raises profound philosophical questions about identity, morality, and existence. His constant struggle with his human emotions against his Vulcan logic invites viewers to reflect on the nature of their own decision-making processes.